All rise. Both parties raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Court is now in session with the Honorable Judge Mablean presiding.
Thank you, Will. You may be seated. In the matter of Darren Cole versus Melissa James, Mr. Cole, you're suing Ms. James for $3,000, alleging that she breached your contract to appear on your podcast for 2 hours.
Correct.
And Ms. James, you're countersuing for $2,000, saying that he caused you emotional distress and lost wages because
And breach of contract.
he breached his contract with you. All right, this is going to be interesting. Mr. Cole, we'll start with you.
I'm a producer and host of a podcast. Melissa James, I'm suing her for $3,000 because she breached her contract and walked out of the podcast mid-episode and caused me a lot of unexpected, costs and damages. The thing about her is she has an amazing voice, and something about her also brings people to her. So I was like, finding out a few years ago that she had a background from being an exotic dancer to turned gospel singer. I'll be like, hey, that's a good thing you could talk about on the podcast and promote your album. So I agreed to pay her $1,000 to come on the podcast for 2 hours. She sent me a voice note to my phone and said, hey, we can talk about everything, just don't bring up my past. I said, okay, we won't bring up your past. I have a copy of the email here with the contract agreement that she signed. And from there, she comes on the podcast. She looks surprised that it's a live audience. But after that, she storms out, costing me a lot of unexpected costs. I had to book another guest in the time slot that she was on there because she saw a woman stand up and ask her a question about her past. The lady stands up and says, hey, girl, I used to work with her. We used to dance together. And she gets mad and gives me like this stare, a death stare. And I'm like, what's going on? I didn't script this. I didn't know that would even happen. So I asked the lady again, I said, what did you say? Just to make it clear. And she repeated her statement that she used to dance with her at the Drunken Monkey. And the tension was so tight that I ended up having one of my panelists say, girl, don't worry about it. I used to strip too. Just to kind of make a joke and lighten the mood. But she gets up and says, oh, we talked about this, and just walks out the show and breached her contract. So that's why I'm suing her today.
At one point you said, I was happy to bring her on because I knew about her past, and I knew that she was a stripper at a gentleman's club and had turned her life around and would be, good for your podcast.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, you said, she called you and told you don't mention that.
Yes, and we did not.
Okay. So what was the point of you bringing her on then? To promote her album, her new album?
To promote her album, and she wanted to keep it about her kids and family, and we did. An hour into the show.
Wait a minute, I got that. You don't have to repeat any of that.
Okay.
I heard it. So you brought her specifically then to promote her new album.
Yes.
To talk about her family and her children.
Yes.
On your talent agreement, it says format unscripted conversational style with audience Q&A.
Yes.
Were you aware of that, Ms. James?
I did not know that, and there was no verbal agreement. I did not.
Can you read?
I did read.
Did you read your contract?
Did read my contract? Yes, I did.
Obviously you did.
To be honest,
It clearly says unscripted conversational style with audience Q&A.
And I sent her.
I don't need you talking back and forth. That's not what we're going to do. But contract says format unscripted conversational style with audience Q&A. So that means audience gets to ask questions. So what do you mean when you said you didn't know it was going to be live?
No, I knew it was going to be live, but I did not know that it was basically where the audience could stand up and ask anything they want. I thought that Darren had some control over the people that were in the audience to ask any questions.
Q&A. So you thought that was going to be scripted audience Q&A, that he would have someone specifically designated to ask a question?
My largest problem is, I told him.
Your largest problem is, you got to answer my question.
Honestly, I think this is the truth. I think that person was planted in the audience to ask me that question, because this person randomly comes out of nowhere to ask me a question about something that happened 20 years ago.
That person didn't randomly come out of nowhere, according to what I read. That person was in your life in the past.
Right.
I don't remember them.
Well, you may not remember them, but she remembered you. She said we danced together at the gentleman's club.
Right.
That's what the audience member said. She didn't come out of nowhere. She knew you from your past. Now, perhaps she heard the advertisement that you were going to be on his show.
Yes.
And perhaps knowing your past, working with her at the Gentleman's Club, and now you are singing gospel, maybe out of jealousy, envy, just hatred, just a bad person.
Perhaps.
She decided to come and, quote, embarrass you. But he clearly told you it was going to be a live Q&A.
But we had an
No,
agreement
I don't
regarding.
need to stop. You guys cannot talk over me.
I do feel like that if he knew his audience, his studio audience, could get that way, that there was sort of this unspoken agreement that he should have warned me. A little verbal warning would have been fine, that things could go rogue like that.
If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. We're back with the case of Darren Cole, who is suing Melissa James for breach of contract.
This is not between you two anymore. And I'm not going to overtalk you either. So I think I was saying he told you it was a Q&A, and this person, you think maybe she was planted, but you have no evidence of that. And it may have been that this person, out of jealousy, envy, whatever, over the fact that the two of you were in a gentleman's club together before, now you've turned your life around, you're singing gospel, you're saved, and you're living a different life. She may have wanted to expose that. You know, you have people like that. They just cannot let you move from the past. They have to keep throwing it up in your face, especially when they think it's negative and when they think that they can benefit from it, okay? So that's what I saw. I just saw a hater in the audience. That's what I call her, a hater.
Okay, so I agreed to be on this podcast because I wanted to help him. I did not agree for a sort of messy studio audience environment, and him knowing how I felt about my past being brought up and thrown in my face in any way. I do feel like that if he knew his audience, his studio audience, could get that way, that there was sort of this unspoken agreement that he should have warned me. A little verbal warning would have been fine, that things could go rogue like that. Instead, he sort of just sat there and let the audience laugh at me. And in fact, this is his podcast, his environment. He controls the mic, he controls the edits, he controls the re-upload of the live.
In a live audience Q&A, you do not know what will be asked and what will not be asked unless you have briefed your live audience Q&A, and then it's not a live audience Q&A, it's the way you do the programming. You have people to ask certain questions. If you did not know the format, and if you wanted to be certain that no questions would be asked related to your past, you should have asked, are the questions formatted? Do you form the questions in advance? Just like now, I've got to do a Q&A. They've asked me to do a Q&A. I was given the questions in advance. And so now I can form my answers. But when you want only certain questions asked and you want it tailored, then you have to ask the person, may I see the questions in advance?
Right.
But when you leave it open, his thing said live audience Q&A. You said, don't bring up my past. He didn't bring up your past. Knowing that you're now singing gospel and you have a past, old things have passed away. Behold, all things are become new. So you can't talk about the past and intertwine it with the new, because there may be somebody else out there struggling with the same thing you were struggling with that you could help as part of your new. So you can't run from your past. You let your past guide you.
I did. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not ashamed of what I did.
Yes,
because
you
I
are.
did it.
That's why you're upset.
Right.
Because the person in the audience brought it up, and you weren't ready for that to be revealed by others.
She told me that's there's nothing to be ashamed of. That's who we are, but that's not who I am, Your Honor.
So then why couldn't you answer her back and say, no, that's not who I am.
It's not
that's
who
who
I am.
was. Your retort, that's who I was, that's not who I am. That may be who you am still, but that's not who I am. That's who I was.
And it's not how I want to be viewed. Your Honor,
You
I have a
can't
husband, I
stop
have
people. You
children.
cannot control the way people view you. You really can't.
No.
And nor can he.
Your Honor, may I
And
sure?
no, hush.
Okay, sorry.
Why do you need to say something so
Because that's
badly?
what he does. He likes to control
I
the
just wanted to
narrative.
show you something that she posted.
Okay, but you can't. Hold on.
Okay, I'm sorry, Your Honor. sir.
No, I have lost. Okay, so like I said, my music career is taking off.
Why is your music career is taking off?
It's kind of taking off. I've
Right.
kind
Now,
of,
why do you think this hurt your music career?
Well, here's what's happening. I was supposed to appear at something called the Praise Fest, and since this podcast aired and has garnered interest, I have lost. This is I want to give to you. I've lost this contract. That is $2,000.
At
as
the
a result
Praise Fest.
of appearing. Yes, they've asked me not to appear.
So the people that are booking you now are unaware of your past?
No, so it was. I mean, it was a while ago. I
Are
stopped.
they
I stopped
unaware of your past?
I stopped dribbling. Well, I stopped dancing in 2015.
And social media been out a long time. And internet been out a long time. And you're
deleted-
telling me that no one has heard, Googled you, or know about you? Because if you're alive and your name is out there, it's not just the present. You can Google your name and find out your past.
I went by an assumed name. I didn't go by my name, Melissa. I used another
Okay.
name. So
you thought that you had put the past behind you and people didn't know. But you know that that was a mistake on your part. And I think that the person canceling your contract because they now know your past, that is a choice that they get to make, but you can't blame him for it.
But I am getting called names, and people are saying disparaging things to myself online, on my social media, on my one social media Facebook page that I do have
Because people are
evidence of
evil.
that as
Some
well.
people are just rude and evil like that. We all have a past that we don't like. We all have something that we have done in this life that we don't like and we're ashamed of, but so be it.
You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. We're back with the case of Darren Cole, who is suing Melissa James for breach of contract.
What do you have to say? What do you want to
I
show
just
me?
wanted to show, she keeps trying to blame me for this, but she posted, hey, excited to be on the podcast. And this is one of her posts on Facebook. And as you can see, I commented on the bottom. So anybody could have seen that. She had 150-something thousand likes on it. And just like you said, they came to the show probably knowing that she would be there. That's not something that I scripted, Melissa.
I
can show
cannot
you the
believe you
numbers
call
for the
yourself a woman of God.
Probably someone from my husband's family.
They don't know your past.
The extended family, like aunts, uncles, and cousins. No, it's not something we brought up like at the holidays or family dinners. But I think we did tell his parents. But his family is a Christian family as well.
And if his family is a Christian family, they ought to know that we all have a past, including them. And if they tell the truth about their past, they got something in their past that they're hiding and don't want people to know. We all have a past that we don't like. We all have something that we have done in this life that we don't like and we're ashamed of. But so be it. And if you're going to dwell on, if you're going to get upset with people talking about your past, you're not going to be able to move forward. And part of your Christian experience says, forgetting those things that are behind, I press forward toward the mark, not backward. You should have a conversation about it, and then you can determine how it's put out there. You spin it. Have your own conversation about it so you can put the spin on it that you want.
Coming up,
I feel like he was my friend and he exploited it.
Stop. You know good and well people have a past and folks bring it up. And whether you want that to be your story, that's your story. That's not who you are. And own it. And yes, I made money. And yes, this is why I did what I did.
you're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. We're back with the case of Darren Cole, who is suing Melissa James for breach of contract.
Have your own conversation about it so you can put the spin on it that you want. But trying to hide it allows others to spin it.
But I feel
You
like
take it away from them when you do it yourself. That's why when I do something crazy, I'm the first one to tell it. I'll take it away from you in a minute. Girl, I was out there the other day and I did X, Y, Z. That was so stupid. You can't go tell anybody and get the laughs because I've already told. I'll tell them myself. Because you have a story to tell. And a story that sells and a story that will help others.
But I don't want
it's a
this to be my
story of
story.
redemption.
I don't want it to be my story.
Whether you want it to be your story or not, that's your story.
Right.
The way
I feel like he was my friend and he exploited it.
Stop. You know good and well people have a past and folks bring it up. And whether you want that to be your story, that's your story. That's not who you are. And own it. Yes, that's who I was. And yes, I made money. And yes, this is why I did what I did, but I'm no longer that. Now, and people are going to hold you to it. Unfortunately, there are some people in the world that will never let you go of your past, particularly if it's any negativity in it, and they think they can profit by keep reminding people of it. It's just those kind of evil people in the world that will do that. But you take the fire from under them when you acknowledge it yourself and tell your own story in the way you want it told. And you will, look, you had a great opportunity to tell it from a person who admires you and appreciates you and who looks up to you, and now he's a podcast interviewer. You had a great opportunity to tell it.
I felt ambushed.
Okay, you felt ambushed, but he didn't cause it. Now what else?
Judge Mablean's verdict when Justice with Judge Mablean returns. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean.
Now let's just tell the truth, because it's all about marketing. You could have controlled the narrative. I'm not giving either one of you any money, because what happened here was what we call life. And you had promised her that that wouldn't be discussed on your show.
Yeah.
Why you think she owes you? Breach of contract?
Yeah, she didn't stay for the 2 hours.
You breached it when you didn't stop that conversation. You promised her there would be no questions about that part of her life. And when the question came up, you didn't stop it. You allowed it to continue. Neither of you acted in the manner that you could have acted. That was in either of your best interests. Girl, you had a gold mine going and didn't realize it. I don't want to belabor the point, but this was a great opportunity for you, and you can still take advantage of it. Listen to me. The viral that went out in terms of the negative, get someone to do a video of you going live, telling your story the way you want to tell it. Yes, you have heard on certain show that I did X. Yes, let's talk about that. And tell your story the way you want to tell it. So it's said the way you want to say it.
Your Honor.
My judgment is case dismissed in terms of the plaintiff and case dismissed in terms of the defendant.
All rise.
Judge Mablean has ruled. Both cases have been dismissed.
I truly believe that you planted that woman in the audience to expose me because you wanted to boost your numbers that were already doing pretty good. And to be honest, I don't think people remember. I honestly don't think as many people remember as you think.
I don't need to boost my
Okay,
numbers.
thank you. Your day in court is over. Gather your things. You're going to exit behind you.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.